Hey guys, welcome to a little bonus episode of Cryptids and Cases. I want to start this by saying I won't usually post every single week. I did post last week, but I wanted to make an exception for this episode in particular. Essentially, what happened was that I posted that I was going to be filming and releasing a Hatman episode for our cryptid section of Cryptids and Cases. I had somebody actually reach out to me with one of their stories that I thought was really, really interesting. But unfortunately, at the time of her reaching out to me, I had already filmed and edited the Hatman episode that was going to come out like 2 or 3 days later. At this point, I didn't really have time to go back, record her experience, edit that, splice it into the episode, and then release it. So I decided to go ahead and just do a little bonus episode to piggyback off of the Hatman episode. This is also going to be kind of nice because I do have some family coming into town and I won't be able to release an episode on the usual Tuesday next week. So hopefully this little bonus episode can kind of hold you over until then. So going back to the very beginning of what happened. Like I said, I was getting ready to post my Hatman episode in just a few days when I was reached out to someone who had found my podcast. Now, this was really exciting to me because, as far as I know, this is the first person who had just found my podcast organically out there in the wild. I'm rather certain at this point that all of my followers and such are friends or friends of friends. And the person who messaged me didn't know me. They're across the country from me, I'm pretty sure. No mutual friends. So I was so excited and nervous that this had reached somebody else who's completely out of any of my overlapping circles. She gave me permission to mention her name, so thank you so much, Bree, for reaching out to me with your story. Emailing you back and forth has been so fun. You have so much insight and knowledge that I have just loved soaking up. I really hope that you stick around. I know this podcast is a little new. There's some kinks to work out, and I'm still learning, but I really hope that you're here for the journey, and I just appreciate you. Now, Bree sent me an email detailing her experience, and I'll go ahead and get into that right now. Bree says, "Hi there again. I have to say, it's pretty strange or surreal that I am sending my story to a podcast. It's not that I haven't ever shared these experiences with people. I just would have never guessed I would be sharing it this way. I don't know if you need to put the first part below in. I just wanted you to have an understanding of what/who I am. I guess I will start by sharing a little backstory about myself. I have been able to see and connect with spirits since I was a young child. If I think back, the earliest memory that I have of being visited is when I was 5 years old. I put spirits in quotes because I now have a deeper understanding of who I am visited by. While I have been visited by what I would call spirits, I now understand that there are many other beings/entities out there. When it comes down to shadow people, I am speaking of what I believe are entities that are coming through from a different dimension. I didn't always think that way. I used to think that they were evil spirits because my semi-Southern Baptist upbringing had me fearing everything. It has always been my experience that the majority of shadow people are watchers or observers, and they show up during times of turbulent change and awakenings within a person's life. I don't believe that the watchers cause the turbulence/chaos or the awakenings. I believe they are there to witness it. I have had shadow people visiting me for my entire life. Most of the time, I feel curiosity coming from them and an interest to see. There have been those that feel neutral or like a blank canvas, maybe. I feel that they are just there to observe and document. The curious shadow people that have visited me are smaller and stouter beings. The neutral shadow people have always been tall and lean. All have been people-shaped, just shadows. There are some shadow people that are not so benign, and we called the one that my family and I, encountered the tall man. About 11 or 12 years ago, my husband, 4 kids, and I all moved. I don't remember if he made an appearance right away or if he showed up after we had been there a while. All 4 of my children, who are all adults now, share varying degrees of my gift. All of them can see and have had a lot of interesting and some scary experiences because of that. The tall man hid from me. He was crafty in the way he moved within my home. He definitely didn't want me knowing he was there for as long as he could get away with it. My oldest daughter was the first to tell me about him. She said that this was a tall man with a hat that would pace back and forth at the foot of her bed at night. I didn't realize until a little later that he would show himself to her and how much he really scared her. He stayed down in the basement where the kids' bedrooms were, and I was never able to find him or feel him, which was very strange. I could feel that there was something there, but I could not pinpoint the energy. I guess he kept it as neutral as he could when I was looking. I am big on setting boundaries with spirits/entities, and I have taught my children how to bubble and set firm boundaries with any new supernatural beings they may encounter. So, I told the kids to try that and see if they would hold. I did the same. After a short time, the tall man was back and seemed empowered. When he came back, I was able to see and feel him. The moment I felt him, I felt a fierce need to push him from my home, and so I did. I forced him out and banned him from my home and my family. For the next few nights, he would stand outside of the house, on the sidewalk, and just stare up at the living room window. I saw him several times over those nights. He was a solid black figure in a long trench coat and a hat, and he was very unhappy. I now keep solid protections around myself and my family. I have learned much since his visit. I hope that my experiences resonate with you in one way or another. Be well, Bree. Now, I have to say, your experience definitely did resonate with me heavily. I was really surprised at how similar that entity is from my stories to your story. I thought it was really interesting that Bree felt that that being was really negative, and I also thought it was interesting that he seemed to be sentient or have some sort of intelligence about him. I definitely felt that with my own version of the Hat Man. I just felt like he was very aware, like there was some sort of intelligence about him, like he wasn't just some black mass, and it was really weird and invasive. It also struck me from the story that he seemed to appear around her children, and then whenever she would come around, he would just kind of leave, block himself, turn off. I started seeing him whenever I was a kid, and my other friend from the previous episode mentioned that she had seen him a lot growing up, but as she became an adult, it kind of felt like a fever dream. She stopped seeing him a lot, and it was just really weird. That experience has been mine as well. I don't have really any children in the household. We're all adults, so it's really interesting that I've also seen him less, whereas when I was a kid, I saw him all the time. I don't know. I'm really curious to see if there's some sort of link between the Hat Man and children. It seems to be a trend. I want to know why that is, but obviously we're never going to know. Nobody can just go up and interview him, so I guess we'll just have to wonder about that. It also hit me when Bree mentioned that she believes that these shadow entities are beings from different dimensions. I wish I could remember the show that me and my mom were watching a few months back that actually had the same thought with it. One of the experts in the show mentioned that they believe that shadow beings are these entities that are between dimensions. That is a whole rabbit hole, but I remember thinking it was so cool and it made so much sense, believe it or not. I wish I would have put that in the episode as well when we were talking about the Hat Man, but I definitely recommend you guys going and checking that out. It's a really cool trail to follow. Definitely recommend. Now, Bree was awesome enough to not only share her experience, but also share how to kind of cleanse your energy so you can stop having those experiences. That was really great because I know very little about how to block myself from negative things, cleanse my energy. The only thing I've ever heard of in like movies and stuff is saging your environment. My knowledge is just super limited. The only way I've been able to kind of combat this Hat Man situation in my past was like if I said a prayer or sang a hymn, but even then, he would keep coming back. Doing those two things was a band-aid whenever I felt that feeling arise, but as far as keeping it from happening altogether, I just didn't know what to do. Bree sent me an email with some tips and said that I could share the tips to you guys on the podcast too, in case any of you guys are on the same boat as me and just have no idea what to do if you're experiencing these things. So, that email is as follows. Are you still seeing him? I feel like if you are, there are some things that you can do. He most definitely is feeding off of your fear, 1,000%. Do you know anything about cleansing your home/space and your personal energy field? If you don't, I would absolutely be open to giving you some advice there. Also, obsidian and black tourmaline are great to keep around you and on your person. They both block negative energy and offer protection. I feel like your hat man and any other negative energies you may have around you really enjoy what you're giving them up until now. It is time to change that up. There is so much power in fear. Fear is a person's worst enemy on so many levels. We fear what we don't understand, and the bad stuff not only counts on it, it thrives on it. When we take control and allow ourselves to truly see, we begin to take our power back. That holds true in life and in the spiritual realms. The first thing for you to do is do a cleansing of your space and of yourself. Again, I will help you if you don't know how, and some protective stones. A good cleansing bath recipe that I use is 2 cups Epsom salt, 2 cups baking soda, and a cup apple cider vinegar. That gets mixed into a bath that is as warm as you can stand it. Soak in that for at least 20 to 30 minutes, longer if you feel like you need it. While you are soaking, ask the water to take from you all that is no longer serving you. Any energy that is not yours, all negative entities, energies, feelings, and emotions. Release yourself from judgments, coming to you from others and going from you, from any narrative that no longer serves you, from any blockages that are holding you back from reaching your highest potential, all of those things, and anything else you feel needs to be released. Before you unstop the tub, ask the water to take all that negative energy, pain, whatever, and let it flow out into the universe where it belongs. Cleansing yourself in that way is so important if you want to remove the things from your life that are attracting those negative entities and energies. I am betting you have experienced quite a bit of trauma in your life. Any unmet and unhealed trauma is like candy to those energies that prey. The more you heal yourself, the less you will see and feel energies like the Hat Man. Please let me know if I would be able to offer any more advice on how to cleanse or anything else in this realm. I would be happy to help if I'm able. She also adds, "Hey there, I forgot to tell you that you need to shower or at least rinse off after you take that bath if you do. Also, have water to drink with you while you are soaking, and be sure to drink more after. That recipe cleanses toxins from your body while cleansing your energetic field. It is pretty powerful. You can do it every week or two, or as long as you feel you need it." I don't know about you guys, but that email was just chock full of so much good advice that I just soaked up like a sponge. I think all of that can apply not just to if you're seeing entities, but also if you feel really weighed down by just bad vibes, bad juju, negativity, and you just need a reset. I can tell you with 100% certainty, I will be buying obsidian, black tourmaline, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and doing that salt bath 100% immediately, getting the things for it right now. A few days later, she also sent a follow-up email that was really helpful, and she said that a healthy tip is when she cleanses her space, she always has a window open in that room. She also uses sage and Palo Santo smudges. Again, I hope I'm saying that right, but the sage is for cleansing and the Palo Santo is for peace. She mentions that it also might be a good idea to smudge the bathroom before and after you take that cleansing bath of yours. It really stood out to me, that bit that she mentioned about fear as well, and how fear really feeds these things and how it's our worst enemy. Like I mentioned in my podcast, fearing that entity and that thing seemed to give it so much power. It made me more scared. It made it show up more frequently. And when I tried to learn to pull away and not be afraid and ignore, I started seeing it so much less. I will also add the ingredients and the instructions of that cleansing bath in our show notes or in the post that I make on social media in case you want to do that as well. Again, Bree, thank you so much for reaching out to me. I am so fortunate that you found my page, and corresponding with you has been so enlightening and so fun and so reassuring. I gladly welcome your expertise, and I am just so fortunate that the universe brought you to this podcast to help me out and also help anyone who listens. I definitely just had to make my own little mini bonus episode on your story and your advice because it was super worth it to me. I hope you guys liked this episode. It's just going to be pretty short, straightforward, no fancy edits or music or clips. Like I always say, if you have your own experiences, whether you want me to share them on the podcast or you just want to talk about them with me and get some correspondence from someone who kind of gets it and won't think you're crazy, feel free to email me, message my Cryptids and Cases page. I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. All right, guys, I think I will let you go here. I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye, friends.